Alright, what's up YouTube? I'm Uncle40 here. I'm actually a bit tired right now, but I wanted to talk about a pattern that I've actually recently noticed and I wanted to discuss. It's going to lead into a discussion here. Well, actually it's a discussion. It is the spell and trap destruction that is currently developing for the post-Raging Tempest set. So, you're like, but Robbie, we've always used Mystical Space Typhoon. Yeah, and if you look at all the regional deck lists from this weekend in the ARG, there's something a little bit surprising here. You guys know what I'm talking about? It's the that spell slash trap destruction. This video we're probably going to be talking about Cosmic, Twin, Nightbeam, and I guess we'll throw Archfiend Eccentric into the little fire here. But we'll start with MST. You guys remember the good old grandfather of the spell and trap destruction, Mystical Space Typhoon. Just simply quick play, destroy one spell and trap card on the field, and well, you guys know how obsolete that shit is now. If you guys haven't really looked at the post-Tempest format, you're looking at ABCs, you're looking at fucking Metalfoes Zoo. As I said, I'm considering that the best variant of the format. We got a lot of hate on the deck profile, which is to be expected, but if you've looked at pretty much this last weekend, if you're looking at the ARG, yes, the Kaiju variant is better, but Kieran's a real motherfucker, and that seemed to have been the debate in the video. So, you have to bear that in mind when you're looking at the metagame. I understand there's a Kaiju for that. I get that. There's a fucking app full of Kaijus. You guys have seen the fucking memes. However, at the end of the day, it's not always going to be there to stop a board of, I've seen Trident, Mithrilium, double counter, and whatnot. And a lot of decks are playing triple fucking counter at the moment because of how insane it actually is. I think the 44 card build, playing one Bear Man, one Gofu, was maxing out on counters. But we'll talk about that here because this video is for spell and trap destruction. So as we said, MST's kind of gone to poopy poop 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 now. So we're going to actually start with Nightbeam because this was one of the ones that I knew was going to happen. If you guys look at the OCG, there's been Nightbeam a little bit here and there. The TCG has a very fundamental need to want to hold very good cards. This argument goes all the way back to Trap Dust Shoot. They're actually originating with Billy Break. You want to wait for your opponent to forcibly bait out the trap card. D-Berry is a very powerful card, but you don't want to shotgun it right off the bat. This is the same argument that a lot of players are going to make this format with ABC Dragon Buster versus a Kaiju. Obviously, Kaijus are much more prevalent in the meta. Now, the same goes for, Nightbeam. In a format where you're going to be setting multiple cards, the one thing that you don't want to see is the trap card be chained. And I think it's one of the interesting things that Nightbeam can give you is the ability to just blink out one potential card and not worry about the chain ability. Now, there's a way around that by chaining other cards and allowing the other card to chain on, I believe. You guys can double check that with your local judge for verification, but I don't remember the old ruling for that. But TCG is using it to signal out barrier and just shoot down the barrier. Obviously, as I said, the TCG has a very, very weird knack for wanting cards that purposely try to outplay the opponent. And something that's a little bit different from Japan, which is very interesting in a mindset in and itself, but we tend to like to hold our trap cards until the most advantageous time. I don't think advantageous is a word, but you guys know what I'm getting at here. So the main purpose for Nightbeam at the moment is to just shoot out barrier, just straight out, right? And I think it's something that a lot of Zoo players are definitely really counting on, just to be able to maintain that priority of the main phase. It's not called priority anymore, but being able to retain your first action and be able to just take care of it. But it's pretty much just straight up for fucking Nightbeam. I guess Compulsion, fucking Book of Moon exists again, but that is what it is there. Next up, Cosmic Cyclone. Alright, so paying 1,000 to remove a spell or trap card. First argument I'm going to make about this card is paying 1,000 life points can be very detrimental. Obviously, Zoo does not always have a consistent OTK. Obviously, the Kaiju variant has the OTK. Pure Zoo does not. The one reason that I really think Cosmic Cyclone is going to see a lot of play this format is the fact that it can still remove Metaphos Fusion. Somewhere in the world, Metaphos are still a relevant deck, even though half my subscribers seem to disagree with me. Also, being able to remove a Barrage from the game so it doesn't attach as another material is pretty fucking adorable. And I know that's not the main reason, but you have two very powerful cards that still exist in this metagame. Obviously, you can still remove counter as well with Cosmic Cyclone, but you have to remember you can still very well lose to a Chained Barrier. Obviously, you can still go end phase Cosmic Cyclone, which you can't actually do with Nightbeam, which is a bit arguable. So you're valuing the pay 1,000 to remove Barrage, to remove Metaphos Fusion from the game. I definitely value that a lot. Now, obviously, you're playing the game from a different standpoint. You're attempting to play Nightbeam as a form to stop one card, while Cosmic Cyclone is a bit better going second for Fusion, Barrage, and counter, as I said already. But it's just the generic power removal, though at the cost of 1,000 life points, I've seen a lot of people just not really want to fuck with it. It's been more of a side deck choice, this format, from what I've seen so far. Obviously, Seattle is coming up into this next weekend, so this whole argument will probably be settled by then, but it's still interesting to see the different mindsets and everything. Next up on the list is Twin Twister. I know a lot of people cut Twin Twister. Oh my god, this fucking shit got cut. Now, if you're looking at Zoo sets pretty much multiple back row. There's very few scenarios where I see one-ofs. I spent fucking like half of the night watching Post-Crisis Zoo on YouTube, just watching the OCG channels play it. And like, whatever the fuck you think we have now is ridiculous. And I like Twin Twister a lot more than Cyclone Cosmic Cyclone and Nightbeam. I like the fact you can still end phase, discard your shit tier Mom Rat that you've drew multiples of, immediately take out 2 back row. You can also, the downside to it is if your opponent plays the Barrage turn 1, then you have to discard a card from your hand to kill the Barrage. That is the only effective downside to it. However, it's definitely a better going second card. Like, pretty much hands down, being able to clear multiple back row, I definitely like that, and I value that probably as highly as I should. Like we said, obviously Nightbeam's going second. You're aiming to pop. Cosmic Cyclone, you're aiming to essentially use it to go first and remove the terrible things. And then going second, it's kind of like Winged Dragon Raw Sphere mode, almost. I can't believe I'm about to make this argument. Obviously it answers multiple cards, but your opponent can only set 1. And you're going to risk the ability to discard to basically, I guess, only clear 1 card. So, I mean, obviously in the sense of if your opponent does their huge giant Zoo combo, or if Metaphos are doing their scales, obviously being able to discard a card and answer multiple cards is very good. That's why I like that. Twin's not terrible going first. Not at all. Only in the case of Barrage. But, that is what it is. So, there's a lot of arguments you can make for the 3. As I said, I'm also going to throw Archfiend Eccentric in this video. Obviously, Archfiend is only seeing play right now in Metaphos. Metaphos, actually, I've not seen. They're not playing Nightbeam. They're citing Cosmic, and they're not meaning Twin Twister. Obviously, the deck can't function for Twin Twister to discard an additional card from the resource pool, unless you're playing the Bearman Giant Trainer build at the moment, where you get to draw thrice. But there is, obviously, with Archfiend, you can still pop your combination, whatever the one, the Searcher. you can still use that to pop. You don't really have to use MST anymore. You can effectively, you've merged with the Zoo engine now. I don't think Pure is even an option at this point anymore with the video going up today. So, but Archfiend is seeing its own place in Metalfoes, which it's always been there. Also, having access to Invoker through it's fucking stupid, man. Like, I can't believe this shit. Like, fucking so many. Bumbuku, fucking the level 3 guy, fucking Terror Top. Like, so broken. Fucking Yu-Gi-Oh, man. And just having your own MST as a level 3 monster is so stupid. You know, but what are you guys doing right now? You know, if you're an avid Zoo player, I definitely think Twin Twisters is the way to go. Now, like I said, there are multiple arguments. You know, 1 to 2 cards are the primary reason why most people are playing these cards. You know, are you guys on the Nightbeams to straight shoot down the Dimension Barrier? Are you guys maining the Cosmic Cyclones to try to hit the fusions? Are you aiming to roll with the Twin Twisters to pop multiple back rows? You're not super worried about Barrage? You know, or are you still sticking with Metalfoes with Archfiend Eccentric? What is your guys' cup of tea? Obviously, this is just something I noticed while I was floating around in my bathtub earlier. I figured I'd make a video about it before I go to sleep and get this ready for the afternoon. But it's interesting. It's the first time I've actually seen. Obviously, it's the first time we've had all of these together really be relevant in a format change. So with MST power creeping itself out of the moment, you know, it's definitely going to be like the hand trap dilemma now. You know, like, a Veiler shit this format. Like, you know, Ghost Ogre, Ghost Ash is better. I mean, there'd be times where Ghost Reaper is probably going to be much better in a format. Obviously, you know, we'll see how things settle in Seattle this weekend, but you're definitely going to be seeing all 3 of these see some play in some form, including Archfiend Eccentric, because it's Archfiend. So yeah, guys, like I said, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and deuce Reno's, people Reno. That's not all, folks. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Please check out my Cardfight Vanguard channel, VanCole40. You guys will get an insight on our playtesting sessions. And please check out the Zoodiac Duelist TV Twitch stream. That way you guys can follow the House of Champions and MCole40 interactions. Please check out MCole Games for all of your guys' trading card game needs. And if you guys enjoyed this content, please check out my Patreon in the description. Every bit helps to the creation of these videos. One step at a time in improvement, and that's the goal of this channel. Alright guys, have a good time, and thanks for watching.